Put everything back down and you can get the door open.
You can come back in, Dan. I wasn't running you out, man.
No, I was just getting out of your way.
Because I got to wrangle everyone in here anyway. All right, we're going to get started now.
That's John using his outside voice.
It's not, yes.
That's the Barb voice, John. If you want to be on the open mic list and you're not on here, come. I have a little notebook. Come put yourself on it.
Where?
I just don't feel like it.
Well,
You ever had those days? I just don't want
I've had a lot of
to
those
exert.
days.
I'm just gonna listen.
John, put my name on there.
I can do that.
Thank you. See? Put hers on there too.
Was that? Oh, Brenda? I asked Brenda if she wanted to be on it. She wasn't sure.
And you just took that as a no, huh?
Well, I give
Always
her
one
the,
in a
she
crowd.
reserves the right to change her mind, so. All right. I'd like to thank everybody who's here. I think it's too sunny out today. Everyone's like going and doing stuff, but for me it's too hot. Today we have two featured readers. But before we get to that, I'm going to give you a little bit of our upcoming schedule. June 4th, which is a Saturday at 6 p.m., just like this, we will have somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen featured readers from anywhere from Texas to Ohio to Indiana to various parts of the country. And I'm pretty excited. Two of my closest friends from Dallas who have never seen Belle are going to be here. I'm going to give them the grand tour, which should take me about 20 minutes. But after we do that, they will be here. And these fine folks commented about how it was cooler in here than it was last July. And they're correct because it was sweltering.
Oh my God, it was horrible, yeah.
And so, like, beyond that, we're gonna have a reading July 9th, which is going to be Jonathan S. Baker and Tim Hierdink. And then I am wrangling a reading here for August 13th because my friend S.A. Griffin is gonna be in from Los Angeles, and I'm hoping to get him to read here that day. August 20th, we're gonna have a novelist named Darren Dean who teaches at Lincoln University here. And we're also going to have a poet named Andrew Malveria, who is from Lynn, and they're going to be reading together. And that's all I'll give you for now. That's sort of the summer schedule. So without further ado, because it's hot and I'm fat and sweating, I'm going to bring up our first reader for the evening. And I had given this like no thought as to who should be first. Since Dan traveled from St. Louis to be here, I am going to call up Mac first. So, I will let Dan sit back a little longer and think about what he's going to read. And you actually showed up early. See, the people that show up late, like Tony Brewer, I made him read first because that's the price you pay for showing up late. But you were wonderful today. And,
I do my best.
I'd like to thank both of these guys for being here, even though Mac is here regularly. I really appreciate them reading at the store. We're really proud of Mac. He has like several new releases that have come out, all with seemingly like in the last week or two. I don't know if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
I can say that his latest collection was put out by Inspire Press, which is in England. It's run by my friend Steve Cotti. It's a beautiful book. You should pick up a copy. It's out on the table out there. He's also in the latest New Prophets of Poetic Discord book, which is also out there. And without further ado, I'll stop talking and bring up Mac Thorn. Or should I say Mackenzie Thorn?
Mackenzie Thorn. Yep. My government name.
That's right.
That's how I sign my taxes.
Your government issued Christian name.
Yep. Is Mackenzie a Christian name? I don't know. Does anybody know?
Not in this room.
Not really sure. But this is the new collection of poetry. It's called Rattlesnakes and Flat Tops. It's through Inspired Press. A lot of it has to do with being out here. Even if the subject matter isn't totally exactly about being out here, it is super influenced by being out here. For example, what I wanted to see here was this one is called Old Farm Dog. That's what I'm going to start out with, and it's actually about being out here, so exactly for what it is. At night, the spirit of an old farm dog circles my bed. When the world ended, did you sleep all day, or did you wake up early? In the morning, I am awoken by gnats and gunfire. Look out the window at the farmhouse, all gummed up with barn cats ever since the early gibbous moon, telling time only by position of the sun and angle of beer cans, no rhyme or reason to want or desire, drinking to drink and eating to eat. At lunch, I must chew on my tongue for the sake of the table. Better yet, these crackers, cheese, blueberry jam, and vanilla from Macedonia. The wood beneath it soaked in aged gristle, and if I could eat the board itself, I would. At supper, we think of things to say, in between crushing potatoes, about books, music, or maybe a story of old. Small talk, like a cleaning rag, can only be wrung out so many times, yet it only takes one twist to end the life of a rabbit, and even less to end the evening. At night, I hear that typing on your lap is the trick. Lounge at a reasonable pace. Upright mandrake or baboon thing giving out candy with simple smile and limping willow grins that voyeur through window blinds. It's all about playing the game and knowing when to throw the dice. When to pull that mint-flavored toothpick from your teeth and jam it in your eye. When to say I'm finished with this braised beef and paisana wine. When to throw in the towel and leak your cauliflower ear. How to know the difference between the smell of your own blood and that of your enemies. And most importantly, how to end. So this is another one that I wrote about being out here. It's more particularly about pageants, the local pool hall down here down the street. Before I went any further, I just want to say thanks to John. John's helped me out a lot through all this, and Jason for actually putting my stuff to paper a lot. Big thanks to OAC for enabling good and bad behaviors.
Mac, were these all written here?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single one of these. So this is actually the title piece of this book. It's called Rattlesnakes and Flat Tops. And this is based off a true story. A lot of these are based off of really true things that have actually happened, or real conversations. In the afternoon, the old flat tops and their wives sit around in the Pall Mall ashes of the night before, lamenting on snake bites from rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and copperheads, showing off their scars to anyone with eyes to see, and bragging about how death misses chance. Tall tales from taller bar stools, the womb of great American folk tunes. I'm going to do a couple short ones, rapid fire. But this one is, I was listening to a lot of Christian radio out here. Christian radio is pretty good out here, I would say. One of those days they were talking about cryptocurrency on Christian radio. This is about that. It's called Money Order. They were talking about crypto on Christian radio, how to flip non-centralized currency before the pagans get a taste of the good life. In times like these, I wouldn't be surprised if the second coming of Jesus Christ was already here, sitting at a Western Union, waiting for his money order to arrive. And this is the last one I'm going to do from this book. It's called Lay Me a Pallet on Your Floor. If anybody here has ever been homeless or couch surfing for a while, this is kind of a shared sentiment throughout that. Sleep on couches with one eye open and a knife under the pillow. Kindness comes at cutthroat costs. A hand to help you up and another to tie the noose around your neck. And so this is something published by OAC. It's the Great American Pyramid Scheme. It's another New Prophets edition. And I'm going to start off with something called Sky Levy. Actually, I write a lot of things. Usually, I title things based off of music that I'm listening to. So a lot of times, the title of the song will end up being the title of the poem. So to put you in the context, I was listening to Sinner Man by Nina Simone, to put you kind of in the headspace of what I was doing. Pray for the sun and pray for the fox. When they spoke out of turn, they were never asked at all. The bugle horn calls for blood, and stomping hooves drum the earth, summoning all the forest to march in unison. Here in the jungle, there is no shelter to be found, only unrelenting moments of sheer terror. Murder is painted upon the sock car and hobo code. The sky levee breaks, and the plains become flooded with light. This is called Red Meat Causes Alzheimer's. Not much else to say about it. You're just gonna get a earload here. Real men forget who they are, their children's name, and where they went on their honeymoon. Real men slowly drift with the tide into the open ocean of insanity. Real men let arthritis kill their bones and joints until they hobble and shake like feeble leaves on a fall branch, with their backs groaning and begging for morphine drips. Real men drink alone, piss blood, let their teeth rot, kick puppies, use compact bows, and walk away slowly from explosions. Real men complain about sovereignty but follow religion that refers to him as a sheep. Real men inhale exhaust smoke directly from tailpipes until their lungs turn alveoles into buttered popcorn and flatten out like a cat under a sunny window on a spring afternoon. Real men don't cry, they clench their fist in a tight ball as their coagulated arteries shriek, contort, and spasm until it all goes quiet, like a real man. I'm just going to let's see here which one I'm looking at. This is something from Fate of a Mullet. I wrote this like a while ago. This is through Spartan Press. It's called Dick Cheney Shot Someone and Got Away with It. If you're not familiar with that, you should. Does anybody not know that? Anybody here not know that Dick Cheney shot someone and got away with it? Alright, that's fine. Them Pashtun cowboys came flying around the bend, riding on their horses with AKs and Dracos in hands. Firing in all directions, the thunder in the canyon was tremendous. The lonely mountain plateau had never seen this bloodshed before. Could it be repentance, the holy bone soup we sought after? The gods of the cowboy tell them to die with a name, but who would have thought that their master's name was the same?
This country has a great tradition of people shooting, people getting away with it. You made me think.
You know, I'm very pro-gun on a lot of ways, but not in a lot of ways that people think that I'm pro-gun. But everybody who is pro-gun knows somebody that they wish didn't have a gun that does have a gun. So there's that. Everybody knows one. It's like Terry shows up. You're like, oh fuck, is Terry here? Oh shit. Anyway.
Who is he drinking?
Yeah. Terry's not a good shot. This one's called Deliverance. This was about the first time I actually went down to the Gasconade when I first moved out here. Like I said, it's called Deliverance. To some, Deliverance wasn't just a movie, but a manifesto. The way nature seeks repentance from man and the unjust contract, the sacrifice was made and some mistakes too. Offer my life as tribute to the Mother River. This natural menace, this orgy of death plots against us. The bugs and trees ferment plans of reprisal through trickles and tiny beating wings that hum against the smooth rocks. These toads seem to be in on it too, jumping from their spider holes like slimy freedom fighters in anticipation of what's to come. This rusted old fence is the closest thing I have to an ally out here, all besides that guy in a ski-doo skipping down the river. He seems pretty all right. I got two left and I'm done. So I got one. It's called Dusk in a Sundown Town, and I wrote this. I really super influenced by changing of seasons. I'm just writing about whatever is outside. You know, if there's a crack house outside of my house, I'm probably writing about a crack house. If it's spring, I'm writing about spring. You know what I mean? So this one is about fall here. It gets dark so fast now. The bats don't feel the need to flicker against the dusk. There's more night to go around, enough sunken moon to chew, and stars consumed through straws. Like a milkshake, we sit here and enjoy it, taking turns dipping fries into the sauce, lamenting in the moments we have before the coming frost or floods to come. Yeah, that's nice. This one's called Midnight Special, and this one's more about this time of year. I'm writing about that. Play Otis Redding and set my coffin adrift along the river Styx. I can't see nothing beneath this crescent moon. April breeze lets me know I'm not alone. As it swims between reflections of familiar strangers, I cry, why was I the one? $5 red wine, candles glowing soulful harmonies, red sweat-stained pillowcase dresses clenched until knuckles turn white, cigarettes set adrift at red lights after midnight, green onions grow black coal exhaust, red meat juice cools warm red lips, and manic pirouettes blossom orgasm tantrums. Rejoice, the sun has returned. So, thanks guys, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
I think that you should call your next book A Crack House in Spring.
I've been thinking about Crack Fox and a Hen House.
Little crack house on the prairie.
Little Crack House on the prairie.
That's really fantastic. Yeah. Well, you know, Mac said that something was pretty all right, and this next gentleman I'm going to bring up is pretty all right. How I would describe him. He seemingly runs every poetry reading in the city of St. Louis. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not the high-end ones.
Okay, you're a low-end prostitute.
All the ones that matter.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we've had this gentleman up here 2 or 3 times. I'm sure we'll have him back again. He's a good friend of mine, and it's always great to see him. Dan Wright, welcome.
Thank you all so much. It's always great to be back in Belle, and I think this is the first time I've ever been in Belle where the weather has been decent. So the city's even better. First piece I'm going to be reading is from an old chapbook of mine that I put out in 2017, which will be part of my next collection that Barb will be releasing. Took a page out of the playbook of one of my favorite writers, Kevin Ridgway, who's a good friend. He took all of his old chapbooks, decided to release it as a book, and I'm going to be doing that. It's going to be called New Version of the Old Team, and that's probably going to be the only time I ever lift a lyric from Aerosmith. The piece I'll be reading is from this book entitled Murder City Special. Truth slingshots me back to the beginning, and I'm left with nothing but thoughts of everyday suicides and one too many imaginary exits I could have taken instead of the one too many realities I face each day. I'm tired of Cherokee Street, Hip Street politics. Death looms in every headline. Murder, shooting, nuclear fallout. Another Murder City Special served up straight. Pushing yourself in experiments to see where your limits are. Loose lips sink ships, ruin immature lives. Feeling nothing but tired and bare as the party was over long ago, and the edge of cliffs talk shit behind your back and to your face. Fever dreams run rampant. People tell you truths that you swear are false, and now you question each step, each ring, each breath, each memory. It'd be so easy to resign yourself to what you know. Sit at the bar, order a Murder City Special, beer, shot, smoke, and watch the world go by. Sometimes, when you're ready to reform, to leave bad habits behind, the world will do everything in its power to keep you from doing so. Because if you're a fuck up, it still feels allowed to point at you and still feel allowed to be a fuck up too. with zero respect from the mirror but a hell of a sense of humor, I think to myself that if Jesus said, "Blessed be," well, fuck everything I am, why is it that I feel so far beyond saving? When your best ain't enough but your resilience won't let you quit, you're stuck. You're stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea, while the line between boredom and killing yourself leads to purgatory torsos and livers feeling the stress of a job. And you swear that the names and faces you know beside you and behind you are all having a much better time than you as you stare at your drink. Murder City Special, straight up. So this next piece is from my most recent book, Love Letters from the Underground, available on Spartan Press. And I don't read this one out too much. It's called Any Other Name. In the 1940s, they would have called me a red, or a commie if they wanted to be confrontational, with the basis for that being nothing more than my being a writer, for wearing glasses, and daring to think outside a nondescript box. In the 60s, they would have called me a hippie, despite my being over 30 and the fact that I'm so OCD every time I try to grow a beard or have longer hair, it just gets annoying. Some would have called me unpatriotic because I wouldn't have believed in a political pissing contest that gave so much of an entire generation PTSD. In the 80s, they would have called me a liberal, as though that's supposed to be an insult, for pointing out how deregulation was and is going to be the downfall of this country, and for pointing out that Reaganomics was and is a crock of shit. Nowadays, certain people in the community call me Antifa, as though that's supposed to be an insult. That I'm some left-wing nut who wants to burn the whole system down because I don't piss, bleed, or cum red, white, and blue every second of my life. And they base that claim on nothing more than my being a writer, from my wearing glasses, and my daring to think outside a nondescript box.
Pol Pot knew what to do with you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Put you onto the fields.
Joe Biafra taught me that. So this next one was in a collection called The Literary Parrot, Volume 1, which I think they're still overcharging on Amazon. And this piece, if I can find where the hell I am in this, is entitled A Whole Lot of Nothing. Whenever I see a familiar face, it is inescapable that we will talk about what the other has done. We will ask about what the other has done since we last saw each other. And 9 times out of 10, that person will go, nothing. It always strikes me as odd that people give nothing as an answer so often. And in my mind, I will focus on that as the conversation progresses. I'll imagine this person just sitting at a table when they're not going to bed, just contently staring at a wall. Or if I know they have a partner and or kids, I'll imagine them staring at the wall as well, with one of them going, you know, this is a really nice wall to stare at. If I haven't seen that person in years, I'll even start to think that maybe that wall might have something to it. I wonder if maybe I caught them the one time they decided to not stare at the wall, that they thought to themselves earlier in the day, you know what? Maybe there is more to life than this wall. But before they go out, they'll pet the wall to let them know that them going out is no reflection on the wall's worth. It'll always make me wonder what they consider to be newsworthy, because to me, everything is newsworthy. Having a family is newsworthy. A good job is newsworthy, and I say brag about all of it. If I haven't seen you in forever, and I know you traveled to Europe for a whole summer, you performed brain surgery for the first time, you found the fucking secret of eternal life. But if I bring it up, they'll say something along the lines of, yeah, that was the thing. When the catching up is over, and the pressure of getting on with our day will get the better of us, I know this familiar face and myself will both make false declarations that we need to catch up soon more when we have more time that neither of us are ever going to follow up on. Because the truth of it is, both of us will be so much happier sitting at home doing a whole lot of nothing. That's a pretty wall. So this is the only poem of mine that's ever been nominated for an award, and I laughed that this piece of all piece was the one that ever got nominated for a Best in Net award. And it's from my first collection from Spartan, Rodeo of the Soul, and it's called Drink Like Old Hollywood. Yeah, but we would all be so lucky to drink like old Hollywood drunks, for we are all amateurs by comparison. Drinking nothing stronger than gin before breakfast, or being able to call a bachelor pad cirrhosis by the sea. We would all be so honored as to drink so much that you woke up in a Chicago asylum, or to know that you'd be buried with 6 bottles of good whiskey. We'd all thank the gods if we drank so much we woke up the next day married to a young Richard Burton or Liz Taylor. To be a member of the all-American drinking team with Errol Flynn, to drink so much that the on-set bar got shut down by the head of the studio. To have so many stories told about you that nobody knows which ones are true. Hell, legends last longer anyway than any of us. We would all be so lucky. Thank you. So this next one's a super short one. And it's from my second book, Brian Epstein Died for You. And it's entitled Almost. I get sick of people talking about almost as though almost is a victory. I almost asked them out. I almost got that promotion. I almost went to that show. Okay, well, I almost just scratched my balls a few seconds ago, but I didn't, and they still itch. Thank you. And these, I got 4 more that I'm going to go through, and these are all from an upcoming chapbook entitled Blood on the Tightwire. And this one is, which I just read in its entirety a few days ago at Joe's Cafe out in St. Louis. And this one is called Swamp in the Smoker Zone. At the speed of 1,000 railroad trains, with purple hair flying high in the wind, red light district teases with hollowed body coolness. Neon radio looks down as Phil Silvers lets you know that Camels are a real cigarette. The New Jerusalem is a reference, with Big Boy ready to serve you on high holy days. Give praise to the alcoholic tribes of South City that all worship at the feet of the Belleville Stag, and let mad dogs lie at the shrine of shameless hucksterism. Green teeth smoked away as the aliens wait to invade. Invites to Club 69 next to the bathrooms. Baseball players of yesteryear lauded on opening day. Social media shills shrooms. Apathetic husbands wonder where it all went wrong. High rollers stride across the room while wine moms and Jack Daniel dads merengue towards their seats. Dollar bills in the air as though they celebrate, as those who try to drink champagne and heartache try to climb Jacob's ladder. Air smells like foreboding rain. Fountainheads of human existence search for art and imagination. Dogs and jackasses dance burlesque to rave reviews. Music rests in the walls for rats to find redemption. Change is too much, but lost in the shuffle. It's so much easier to go back to what your mind knows. When you relive different versions of the same scene, that's when it's time to look for a new scene. And those who are salt and pepper and punk as fuck know the hard truth of this world, that you either die a punk or you live long enough to see yourself work at a microbrew. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've changed the name of this poem so many times, I'm just calling it the poem formerly known as. Some say temptation comes to your door when you're at your best. Some call you Icarus and say you flew too close with the rest. Some will even flat out say that they fear the will to try, and some don't want to deal with the lows that come after the highs. Some fuck with the devil because the devil asked a question. Some fuck with God just to be a passing mention. Some will say it's over before anything has begun, and some will step out to feel the warmth of the sun. Some will shout out autonomy from a hollow voice, and some actually have a fucking reason to shout my body, my choice. Some find refuge in the ballad of dirty art. Some have too many ideas that they don't know where to start. Some can only afford a bowl of rice. Some can pass the time throwing tumbling dice. Some will send money to buy better bombs, and some will pass judgment on another single mom. Some never fuck with the future and only fuck with the past. Some strangle the good times, hoping they will last. Some will make their friendships feel like another chore. Some will never pay attention to words they've heard before. Some will drink booze to walk away from the ledge. Some dare to know what is over the edge. Some will drive themselves crazy, thinking the world is an endless test. And some will do what they can and hope for a futile best. Thank you. So I only got 2 more left. So like any sort of struggling poet, I went through a Doors phase and found that the stuff Jim Morrison was into was 10 times more interesting than Jim Morrison could ever hope to be. And this is based on one of those things that I read. And it's called Killing His Way to California. Bodies dumped down a mine shaft. A family of 5 near Joplin, Missouri, 1951. Hitchhiker left the car riddled with bullets in Oklahoma, along with the receipt for the gun. A friendly face of 21 hides his 32. A traveling salesman from Seattle found dead near Oglebay. His car abandoned near the Mexican border. 6 dead in 22 days, with 4 others who survived. A year later, in San Quentin, James Cook walks to the gas chamber. It was his turn to die. This will be my last one. It's a super short one, and it's called Indirect Wheels, April 13th, because I read a lot of Richard Brodkin. Magic is the color of the curtains that blow in dreams, of the blindfolded piano, trying to feel a comfortable next step. The perfect end of a star looking for a light, and the education that comes from a love poem written well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, John. Thank you, brother.
Love you too, but I should hit you in the stomach for mentioning Joplin, Missouri. Nobody needs to go there.
Ooh.
No, they don't.
No, Jason Rebert knows that place is terrible.
Didn't you guys just go?
He did mention Joplin. Terrible. But all right, I'm gonna give everybody a 10-minute break. But before I do that, I went out into the other room because Elena is going to mention her project with Tim Tarkelly that they worked on last year. But before she comes up and does that, when we come back, I just wanted to show this book right here. It's called All Other Forms of Expression. And because I get sick of poets, I am so grateful that there are other forms of expression. But this book is beautiful. Elena's going to talk about it, but I just wanted to show it right here because it is out on this table. So if you do take a break before she talks about it, come up and talk to her about it. And she will tell you more, I'm sure. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
forever. I can't.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
figure it out.
So that's the hardest part.
That is
Yeah.
hard. But I think I might have.
Pretty important part too.
Okay.
Oh, my
It's
God.
all
volunteer
Okay.
people that are trying to build internships, or they just want to travel.
Yeah, very
They're actually
One of the
traveling
black guys,
around
he
the
lives
world
next
and
door
they
to
don't
me for
have a lot of money,
Stoneblood,
so
you know who
we
that is?
have a room and board and they
He
work
was,
for
he was President Johnson's father when Kennedy was assassinated.
Yes, we were, yeah, I knew the area then.
He was
Yeah, we
living
had
here
just
and
called
lived
Barb
outside
every
of
month.
DC.
Judge?
He'll tell me who he lived next
I'm
door
good.
to.
Thank you.
I know I have almost nothing to do with it except for the
Never
eating.
went
How's
to
our crop?
My mother met him once.
Is the crop going? You know what?
No, Rufus.
Crop's fine.
Yeah,
Johnson.
This last harvest, to be honest,
Where's my publisher? I owe him money.
It's quite a number.
I think there's a lot of things wrong with it.
What do the
This last harvest, and it's
Saturday night, that was
gonna have to go through a whole change. You trim a lot of it. I don't think it's the way to go. So I have to, well, they're trying to rush us, but it's also, there's not a lot of reward. So I'm going through a lot of leaves and underdeveloped lawns. So I'm overworking my hands, trying to get these very small bits. But in this last harvest that we did, we actually got some really mature, dense, good product that actually intends to dry, and that may be very beneficial to everybody. I mean, not only including me, but the customer. Partially because it's the bud, the flower is going to be really developed, it's going to be very dense, it's going to be larger. So I'm going to make weight. So the more I trim, the more money I make. But when the bud is more developed and dense, in that way there's less leaves. Yeah, they have more time to dry, and leaves will be easier to trim. So when they're underdeveloped, they're wet.
Oh, yeah, that's
They're much harder to get to. I don't want to really target in.
It's just not as good as that.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's really not. That's, I mean, that's pretty much how it's going so far, I guess.
Not been tried for my mom's fried chicken.
Such selection. I want to find.
He thought he was a player.
Not like anybody's gonna listen, right?
With this, along with like their
Well, is that
basically a lot of their yard stuff.
I would go down there every month. I was kind of held whatever.
Oh, I would have loved to see that.
How are you?
Ace is what makes the band work well.
Doing all right. I like
I
the
didn't
numbers too. I like the original lineup.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a foursome like John Paul, George, and Ringo.
And the master sheet.
All right, guys, we're gonna get going again. I want to say that every time I set water out, I tend to forget to tell people it's there. So it's hot. If you are thirsty, drink some water.
I've got a beer and a shot and a cigarette.
Well, to each his own. All right, we're gonna get going again. I promised Elena I would not call her up first, so I will go through here. And the first person I am going to call up is Agnes. Woohoo!
Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
So I just read last month from here, from my new collection, Corridor for Dreams, and I still have copies if somebody wanted one and didn't get to pick up one. And so I read you some new stuff because nobody wants to do the old stuff again the next month. And so yeah, this is new shit.
Yeah.
The topography of grief. The topography of grief is karst, riddled with sinkholes that suddenly open under your feet, swallow you whole. I don't know what I expected to feel. Not this emptiness, not nothing. I don't cry at the sight of my dad's signature. The letter from probate court I've been expecting. I know what it contains, a form letter and a copy of Dad's will. I cry when I pack his chessboard, lay the wooden pieces to rest in their velvet-lined compartments, Close the box. Let's This next poem is dedicated to a friend of mine who passed away very, very suddenly and unexpectedly a few weeks ago. It's called Tell the Bees. I kneel in last year's leaves to photograph the rue anemones on their slender stems. Take the same pictures each year. Things deserve to be honored every time they emerge, you once said. I pay homage to the fiddlehead ferns coiled tightly with expectation, the zebra swallowtail who unfolds his wings in prayer to spring.
Tomorrow.
The microbes in the soil are busy with their invisible work. The earth did not stop turning when your heart stopped beating.
I'm staying tonight.
Today I folded my arms around your widow, held her fragile frame and knew no words of consolation. And yet, the trees release clouds of pollen into a wondrous blue sky. The white plumes of the blossoms beckon the bees. Folk wisdom says one must tell the bees of a death, hang the hives with black cloth, and sing to them. I hope someone did. And I've been working at Thorn a little bit, and so I'm going to read you two short ghazals. Rain. On Saturdays, the widows walk in the graveyards. The flowers on the graves wilted for lack of rain. Light a candle and place it before the icon. Kneel on the tiles, pray for solace, patience, and rain. In the closet, the old dress with the torn hem. Two broken umbrellas that don't hold back the rain. Long ago, my mom used to play the piano. Notes fell in arpeggios like distant drops of rain. I am the sequel to my ancestors' stories, to their nimbus clouds in the sky. I am the rain. And this last ghazal is ghazals shouldn't have a title, so it's about the river. Paddle the water before you. You cannot go back upriver. Lean towards the obstacle. These are your lessons from the river. The hummingbird moth hovers over the evening primrose. White flowers, white noise of the rapids, white song of the river. Go to the woods. See, the sky has laid itself onto the ground. A pilgrimage. The miracles of bluebells by the river. Two owls hoot in the trees. Their voices resonate in the groves. Owl calls in the moonlight. How do I deserve this grace, river? Let peace cocoon you. Guilt has no power. Sin is a construct. Only judge what disfigures a soul. This whispers the river. Barefoot, I let the labyrinth carry me to the center. There is no difference between the labyrinth and the river.
Since I did not make you the sacrificial lamb, that'd be the first person. I'm going to give you the second person, and come up and talk about your book.
I'm already done with that, and then just forget about it. Like exam. The first one to come, do and
That's
move
right.
on.
That's right.
So hi everyone, my name is Elena Samarsky, and together with Tim Tarkali, who was at art residency here together with me, last year we collaborated on a book which has my paintings and his poems that were inspired by those paintings, And some of those paintings were actually painted during my residency, so I was painting them, and he was in the room, and we were talking about things, and this is how the project developed. Somehow it clicked, and I really liked the way he was writing about my stuff, and I think within 2 months we had already a book with 40 of my paintings and 40 of his poems. He wrote much more, but some of them, it was a process where both of us had to like the final project, and we did. I think it ended up to be quite nice, so I really love it. Please look at the pictures. They are professionally photographed, so they should be of good quality. And if you are interested in seeing some of the originals, they are currently in the exhibition at the Art Center, so feel free to come by to look at it and to ask me questions if you have any about art. Now, he wrote poems, but he cannot be here today, so I'm going to be trying my best. And this is my first reading, so. Okay, I have the luxury to choose the 3 that I love the most, so, but he's quite versatile, and some of the paintings, because I do abstract, it's up to you what you feel about it and how you interpret it, and what kind of emotion or feeling or idea you have. The titles of the poems are the same as the titles of the paintings, so they match. So the first one is the one that opens up the book. It's this one, and it's called The Beauty and the Beast. What did Belle really find in the forbidden wind? Poetic license and movie magic aside, flowers can't live of doom alone. They need the sun to be watered at regular intervals. All curses need a little love and attention for the hated to keep its petals. Its rosy complexion. Oh, it's much harder than I thought. Okay, the second one is this one, and it's currently on display in the gallery, so if you would like to see that, come by. It was inspired by Monet Garden, so at least the color palette. I'm an abstract artist, so it's a very personal approach to things. And Tim wrote a poem about it. So the title is Water Lilies number 2. Deaths at Monet's garden. There is no better place to unfurl, let the leaves die, and trace their wilting bodies with your fingers. Have a short talk about opportunity, how everything green will ultimately brown with age. Because if they lived forever, fresh colors would lose their meaning. Pollen would consume the air, we'd all suffocate, or at least sneeze far too often. It's a dark sense of humor that I liked. Okay, the last one is called Bouquet. And the poem is called Bouquet. Read that. Okay. What if I gave you a bouquet every time I thought of you? Or waited for a moon to hang nice and full and belted my best area? A song about love, its weird way of looking the same as always, no matter who's involved. I suppose I could just ask, what is it that makes you blush? Feel red and warm-hearted, ready to take my hand and rush out of sight, some shaded corner where love can be made in hard but meaningful bursts. I'll save the flowers, use them as most men do, as an apology for all the things I said, even if I'm not quite sure what it is. A very perspective. Thank you.
Elena, nobody laughed at all.
Yeah, not in my face.
Now, if people come see your show at the Art Center, do you have copies of your book there as well if you're in there?
Yes, I do have a few copies.
Okay.
And could you remind everybody again which times the Art Center will be open?
Elena would know.
Okay, so it's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 11 until 3. But I'm most of the times there, so you can just knock and see if I'm there. I'm also on Facebook, so you can always text me a message that you want to come by, and I'll open it and I'll make you a tour and I'll explain and I'll answer all of your questions. So just come by, I'm there. I would love to talk to you about that. So
There's also a phone number on the door. That's my phone number. And I will make the gallery available for you. John, would you indulge me to speak about Elena's work for a second?
Certainly, go ahead.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm the executive director for the Osage Arts community, and Elena just highlighted a collaboration that she had with Tim Kelly, and that's a collaboration. She's in residence at the Osage Arts community, as John Dorsey is, Mac, Steve Bridgens, Jason Reber, a lot of the artists that you heard read that are living in Belle. The thing that's really important to punctuate or to highlight is that typically when they're in this room, they're reading collaborative works that are in these books. And that is an evolution, or it's a different kind of product that is an introduction, a visual in that platform. So we don't always have the opportunity to have visual artists collaborate with the literary artists, but that's a function or a product of the residency program. And Elena is a beast of a talent, like a lot of the artists that we have in residence. She is very prolific. And she's been here for 2 weeks and already finished 4
Actually,
paintings. 6 paintings already finished and framed and everything. That's extraordinary. But she's, I think, typical of the caliber of artists that we have here. But I just wanted to highlight that document, that effort, that collaborative effort is similar to the projects like the Gasconade Review, those kinds of publications that have happened here in Belle, Missouri. But also that collaboration is eking its way across the world. That's in Barcelona, that's in Europe, that document. It's on Barnes & Noble, so it exists out there, but physically it'll be in Israel this year. So it's that poetry, that collaboration is finding its way across the world. So I just want to, Elena's really, really humble, and I just wanted to highlight that because we were really proud of her, Tim, and all the artists. But I just want to let you know that it's a quiet little piece, but it's moving around. So we just wanted to celebrate that. And please take her up on going to the gallery. That exhibition will be open till the first week of September. That gallery's been closed. It was closed the entire first year of COVID because we were respectful and listened to the guidelines. And they said America should be closed for everyone's health. And then we migrated into a healthier, safe place. So we've only been open since, we've only had exhibitions open since fall. So please take her up on that, and we will accommodate your schedule because we're trying to get, like these events, we're trying to get the arts moving back in a healthy way into the American experience. And that gallery is part of that too. So again, thanks so much.
Yeah, I think, Mark talked about the collaborative process, and the very last show that we had here was Aaron Fine's exhibition, and Aaron and I worked on a book project together that is just about to come out, and we're going to do a show for that at Truman State in Kirksville, Missouri in October. For me, I think that's one of the best parts of being in a residency is the spirit of collaboration, if that can happen. So I think that Tim and Elena's book is a pretty awesome thing. But so thank you, Elena.
Thank you.
Very much. And we will eat pie together. All right. Okay, the next person I will call up on this list, I have not heard before, so that's always nice. And I will welcome up Cody. sweating.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely. So I've never really done any of this stuff before. I'm kind of into plants and mushrooms, earth a little bit more. These are just kind of rhymes that I think people should maybe, or that I would like to maybe teach people to appreciate things that we might have forgotten about. So the first one is called Excuse Me Little Philosophy. Excuse me little philosophy, won't you come and sing for me? Let me hear your voice of truth, so we may enlighten our youth. Thank you, little philosophy. Will you teach your song to me? Show me how to sing it true, for all to hear from me to you. Hello, little philosophy. Won't you show the way to me? Help me to cross this expansive plain when all about have gone insane. Won't you come and walk with me, eat and learn this philosophy? This next one would be along those same lines. These are just little things about mushrooms, essentially, right now. Across a plain, after a rain, you will find what you seek, when all the knowledge you desire grows about at your feet. This one's kind of about wood chips. In the West and a lot of places, there's a lot of landscaping with wood chips, and there's quite a bit of mushrooms that grow in wood chips. So wood chips are your friends if you're into mushrooms at all. Trees lay chipped across the path, we find their souls to eat their wrath. That's it for now.
Well, hey man, please come back. We're,
Yeah.
we're glad to have you, and I promise next time I will fan you myself. Alright, we have a few more people on the current list here. So I am going to welcome up Belle's own poet laureate, Caitlin Jones.
Thank you, John. I actually hadn't intended to read. Oh, I grabbed Dan's book, not my book. Is that it? That's not going to help anything.
I'm sure
I
you
mean,
can
I
be
could
a,
read
I'm sure you
Dan's
can be a
book.
better Dan Wright than Dan Wright. Come on.
Oh, without a doubt.
I don't know about that. I hadn't intended to read tonight, but when I showed up, Mac was like, "You're reading tonight," and I was like, "Yes, I am." Okay.
Hey, here you are.
Here I am. So in that spirit, Mac, I'm gonna have you pick a number between 1 and 88, and that's the piece I'm gonna read out of my book.
What?
1 and 88. Pick a
Oh,
number.
okay.
You forced me to be up here, so you're gonna pick the number.
What would Dolly do then?
1 in 80. What would Salvador Dali do?
No, Dolly.
Dolly.
Dolly Parton.
Fuck right.
Oh, what would Dolly Parton do? Dolly Parton would just encourage you to do your best.
That's right. So now you should pick a number between 1 and 88.
76.
76. Okay, so 76 is, oh, this is a fun one. It's actually part of a series that I wrote about being single and the fact that I can never date anybody that my parents or my brother could meet. So the first piece is actually called Dear Whoever I Date, A Guide to Surviving My Brother, and the piece that Mac picked is Dear Whoever I Date, My Dad Slip. When you meet my father, know this, he already doesn't like you. He's been prepping for this day since my birth. He has meticulously planned your demise in his head over and over again. When he cleans his guns, it is for the dual purpose of both good gun maintenance and the eventuality of your arrival. For years, he counseled the first guy you bring home goes in the front yard as a warning to the rest. The large hole under the house, and though the family joke is this is meant for dad when mom grows weary of him, I believe it's really just another step in his preparation for meeting you. You see, I'm his baby. He held me in his hands first. He has protected me, cared for me, and now you have crossed into his territory, ignoring the do not trespass signs along the way. Show him that you love me, show him that you will and can protect me, and over time, he might tolerate you. P.S. My brother was a trial run. P.P.S. If Mama doesn't like you, nobody does. So that piece came out of my book that I published in August called Deep Breaths. It's from Happy Duck Publishing, a publishing company here in town, run by Ed and Eva Gillert, for those of you who know them. And they get testy if I don't give them a shout out, so there's their shout out. The next two pieces I'd like to read is I Am a Nerd. And so I decided that I was going to try and my foray into like fantasy writing, but in my twist. So I've got one called Becoming a Warrior. She said goodbye, standing at your side as you left, and the world fell apart. One after another, those she loved were lost, and she struggled for a foothold only to slide deeper into the darkness, where she lived for a very long time. Until one day, she pushed and shoved her way through a myriad of despair, battled demons who would hold her prisoner in a cage of her own making, and she cried and screamed at a universe for which she declared was unfair. Along the way, she found others like herself, forming a survivor's guild against the tide of world-shattering events that changed life in an instant. Her loss became the strength to persevere in this life, her anger the sharp edge of the blade she used to defend herself and others from those very same demons who were her would-be jailers. Her life becoming a battlefield littered with the moments that added to her armor, protecting herself from the dragons who wished to hoard her misery as though it were the rarest of treasure. She became a warrior, not a damsel in distress, but not saving a damsel in distress, but herself from self-imposed isolation. A warrior defending innocence from unnecessary sorrow, she fought with a valiance that would spawn legends and would warn her enemies she was not to be trifled with. And yet, if you were to meet her, you would say, she was but a woman who carries sadness in her heart and yet a smile upon her face and hope in her spirit that it can't all be bad. And so, in writing that, I realized that I watch a lot of D&D TikTok, the rabbit hole of videos. So I thought, while I was at the hairdresser the other day, about the fact that a hairdresser is really a lot like a healing cleric. So I wrote this piece that doesn't quite have a title yet, but it's about the hairdresser who is a healing cleric. She wields not a wand, but scissors, and still her spell is spun. Her hands trace the runic patterns, focusing calm, peace, tranquility into your being. She's a cleric, a healing cleric, working to heal the broken pieces you see in yourself. A flick of the wrist with brush or comb, and she has made you into a shapeshifter with wildly vibrant hair, jagged bangs accentuating your sharp features. Her magic is that of a good nature, ensnaring you in her mirror, reflecting only beauty and never the beast. A hope your reflection will prove to you that others only see the soul beneath.
See, Caitlin, you could have just told everyone that Ed was here. They wouldn't know the difference.
That's a good point. I think I might make a better Ed than a Dan Wright.
I'll tell you, I tried to convince someone in the dinner bell when that was still open that I was not Ed. And the guy would not believe me. He was like, oh, come on, Ed.
Yeah.
So. And he told me they hadn't seen me since 1992. Jason Reber.
Huh?
Do you want to read a poem today?
Okay.
Last time I didn't include you, you were frowny faced.
No.
So.
That's my resting frown face.
I don't believe that for a second.
That's for the best because I'm a liar.
Well, I've heard that. Come on down. I've heard nothing but bad things.
Oh gosh, this is interesting. Oh, glasses. Oh well. Oh, hanging out at the Get and Go. The moon tonight is the lone pink sodium streetlight of one more no-name gas station grain elevator town with no bar, no diner, no movie theater since 1980-something. Nothing to do on a Friday or Saturday night but get into trouble in some other town the next county over, or hang out here at the Get and Go and watch a few cars passing through. Sometimes some out-of-town types pulling in to gas up and walk around a while, stretching and joking, asking themselves, each other, and finally, one of us, where the hell are we? Portrait of sky, wind, trees, and dog. Busted it, great. The sky is the color of an old primer gray Camaro, with a few rusted out spots here and there where someone has done a messy job of patching them up. And the wind is a sorrowful, moaning chorus of ghosts who are attempting to do a postmodernist rendition of an old Russian opera. And the trees are all doing their leaning this way and that, stretching out the stiffness and kinks, catching up on all the latest gossip thing. And a dog with a stake and chain still attached and trailing from his collar, making a rather comical clinkety-clink soundtrack for his big escape scene, trots joyously down the slick leaf-plastered street, his former life of incarceration mostly forgotten. I kind of got this, ripped it off of a John Dorsey. Oh, my minute!
Is it depressing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called Death Motif. I've often dreamed of death as a bullet from a gun in the hand of some dumb fucko sticking up a quick trip at 1 a.m. who has decided that he is suddenly just doesn't like something about me. Death as a pale and riderless horse without warning and for no reason apparent to me, kicking my brains into next week. Or as a carving knife plunged into my pumpkin-like head by a woman who has finally reached her point of critical mass with me. Or a 20-car pileup on an iced-over highway late at night. Or an airplane suddenly stripping a gear or throwing a rod and then free-falling into the ocean. I have envisioned death as haplessly bobbing along somewhere at sea and waiting for one or more of its inhabitants to take an interest in me. Death as the, I'm pouring my soul out here, it's not funny. Death as the edge of a 30-story building, somehow teasing me closer and closer to it for just a little peek, no doubt in deep collusion with my curiosity and post-adolescent fascination with death as the gaping, jagged maw of a grizzly bear suddenly just appearing in my path on a leisurely stroll through a landscape where heretofore no bears of any kind have ever actually been seen. Death as a slow motion and mutually assured nuclear holocaust, repeating over and over again on an endlessly looping strip. Death as crazed stalker or nemesis from my past, at long last catching up to me as I stumble home from the bar. Death as an otherwise highly curable disease or some severe injury. And me just one more of the 1/3 of meaning 100 million Americans without any health insurance or savings. Death as a serious misunderstanding between me and a SWAT team that's kicking my door in at 4 in the morning. But as a matter of fact, I have never, ever pictured or dreamed of death as hooded Grim Reaper character or devilishly dapper dude at the wheel of a hearse, patiently waiting for me to get my affairs in order. Thank you.
Jason, that is way more depressing than me.
Come on, you can do it.
I
You can do it.
I'm I'm going to read a poem here that is not my poem. A lot of times when I give a reading, I like to start off with a poem by somebody else. And I'd forgotten I wanted to do that today. But I'm going to read one poem by a woman named Maura O'Connor, who I think is one of America's greatest living writers that nobody knows of. She's a schizophrenic. She lives in the Tenderloin. And I've known her since I was probably about in my early 20s or so. But this is from a book called Testimony, and this is the title poem. Testimony. These days I cover my face with bottled skin and scented creams, stain my lips the color of rose juice, wear black, my eyes deepen. The man who once called me that girl in the white shirt is my lover. He carried me home in a magician's casket, cut me in two. I came out whole. I'm a kindness to climb into, a Dresden doll found in the basement of a burnt house. These days I buy the book with the ugliest cover, comb the thick orange hair of an innocent child I never was. While my heroes are knocked down like piñatas, while we wear surgical gloves to the laying on of hands, I folded suicide in four, laid it on a bare white shelf. Someday it may gather dust. I might toss it away like an old dish rag. I'm young, green as bread mold. I'm seeking witness. I want the testimony of Hitler, Stalin, the shadows of the bricks of Nagasaki. These days, the newspapers serve a menu of clay pigeons. Bring your own bullets. I want to ban the colors of the television, the perfect thighs, and plastic wishes. I want to put my next breath in my lover's mouth. I want to burn Jesus leaflets and wear his sandals. I'm taking it all off in the bars of my rib cage, while the politicians find work for each idle child, while 2 terminal patients place bets on the existence of God. These days I show the years when I didn't want to live in the gray spokes of my iris. I'm coming apart like a 10-cent toy. I carry my head under my arm like a rag doll. I want to sleep in the ruin of last night's makeup. I want ancient recipes over instant rice. I want to find the hummingbird graveyard. I want to fill my mouth with black beetles and walk the edge of Eden. I need a new commandment. I will collect single bars of old songs. I will weep a page of black ink. I will be an unprotected witness. My country serves 3-day notice to the starving. My country's hands are tattooed on the belly of a battered child. My country sleeps in the snow of the television after its anthem is played. Let's burn the country and keep the flag. This night is falling in pieces. This moon is cream on a raisin sky. I will evolve thick skin and filter. I will plan my next breath. I will watch the 4 riders foam their horses into glue. It isn't over yet. All right, and with that, I will just bring up the last reader that I have on my list, who is a very good friend of all of ours. Let's welcome up John Clayton.
I spent a good part of my life working, trying to make money, raise my family, feed my family. So there's a lot of things, especially about poetry, that I didn't know. People I didn't know. But when I started reading poetry, and I kept coming across names of people that I didn't know about. So what do? You Google. try to figure out who they are. And this poem is called G.G. Allen. Does anybody know who he was?
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know who G.G. Allen was until I looked him up. But he inspired this poem in me. Today, I read about G.G. Allen. He seemed like an asshole to me. Sitting on the stage and throwing, shitting on the stage and throwing it on fans takes no talent as far as I can see. It boggles my mind that eating his shit is more than a little crazy. He got it straight from his dad, who really drove him quite mad and brought him to a very cruel end. He said he was the last rock and roller, but his music was at best mediocre. He wanted to commit suicide on stage on Halloween's Eve, but could not stay out of jail long enough to do it. G.G. was incompetent all of his life. He couldn't even kill himself right. Jesus, that's his given name, screwed up his heroin fix and died. Yes, died from an overdose. His fans are nuts too. They prance and rave as they put shit and blood on his grave. That caused his mother to be sad, so she moved his headstone to the local slaughterhouse, where shit and blood were at home.
Yeah.
Jason Ryberg, I've always thought of myself as writing story poems. Jason told me I was a protest poet. This may be true. This piece is called Tired, and it seems kind of apropos right now, still. I'm tired. Tired of people who only want sound bites. Tired of people who are too lazy to think about nuanced points of view. Tired of people who have never been south of St. Louis, whining about their southern heritage. I'm tired. Tired of people who think all police are bad. Tired of people who think all police are good. Tired of people who say they're not racist but say racist things. I'm tired. Tired of people who think that flying a traitor's flag is the equivalent of wearing trousers too low. Tired of people who shoot their mouths off on Facebook but want to stifle criticism. Tired of people who are against choice but for stopping SNAP. I'm tired. Tired of old people who are for health care for themselves but not for those under 65. Tired of people who say they are for freedom but okay with brown kids in cages. Tired of people who claim to support the Constitution but only when they like the result. I'm tired. Tired of senators who say they are for due process but refuse to allow witnesses at a trial. Tired of politicians lying every damn day. Tired of public corruption. I'm tired. Tired of Baptists hating Muslims. Tired of Muslims hating Jews. Tired of Jews hating Catholics. I'm tired. Tired of Democratic tribe members. Tired of Republican tribe members. Tired of cheap, lazy independents who never contribute to or work for anything. I'm tired of thieves who cheat on their taxes. Tired of people who think not about that being inconvenienced is a constitutional right. Tired of people who say that minimum wages are too low. I'm tired. Tired of poor people blaming other poor people for being poor. I'm tired of ignorance being a virtue. Tired of men being mean to cover up insecurities caused by low IQs and small penises. I'm tired. Tired of people who would sacrifice others for the economy, but not themselves. Tired of lazy, low IQ assholes who only repost memes because they are too lazy and intellectually challenged to have an original thought. Damn, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
When I went to law school, we lived outside of town here, and I was gone during the week. And my wife and kids lived out here, and we had a neighbor who had a little dog. that they call Vicky Dog. And Vicky came and visited my children all the time when I was gone during the week. And when I come home on the weekends, she didn't think I ought to be there. So she would be in my driveway barking at me. So this is a true story. I came home on Friday, back from people and noise. You don't live here. Go away. You're making me lose my poise. You're in my yard, you little snot, disturbing my peace. Yap, yap, yap. I'm trying to be nice. It's taking all I got. Get out of here, or you're going to get a snap. Yap, yap, yap. Like you own the place. Yep, I yell and stomp my foot. She darts away 15 feet at a rapid pace. If she comes closer, I might give her a boot. I was pretty annoyed when I reached down by the flower bed and picked up one of those love rocks to give it a spin. Not very heavy, not like lead. Love rock, you say? Sure, it's just one of those rocks. You know, not very big, smooth and gray. The Lake Superior find near St. Marais, where no one would go. A 1/4 inch thick, 2 inches across, too slick and shiny to even grow moss. Just the right size to hold in between your finger and thumb. Not something to hurt, just to make her run. Holding that stone with finger and thumb, I let fly with a flick of my wrist, not being mean, but some might say dumb. Like tossing a washer, I let it go. A perfect arc, a perfect throw. Cheapers. I hit that dog right between the feet. She went down, she took a dive like she was shot with a .45. Oh crap. How do I explain that? No one will believe I was just trying to make her leave. As I stood there scratching my head, trying to figure out how to explain if the dog were dead, her feet began to twitch and jerk. She got to her feet, but not very pert. She staggered around and headed for home. We both learned a lesson that fateful day. When my car pulled in the drive, Vicky Dog did not stay.
Still got me thinking about G.G. Allen, John.
Well, I found Evermatic the same way.
Oh, well, Evermatics was a gem. Not that G.G. Allen was a gem his own way.
Everybody has an opinion, John.
Yeah, that's true.
I still think he's an asshole.
I think, G.G. Allen, people tend to have a multitude of opinions. But, all right. I want to say that please consider coming here June 4th at 6 p.m., which is Saturday. There will be new people here you've never met, and they have not met you. And that, for me, is the best part of doing this, is that people get to congregate with one another and meet new people. Otherwise, life is just boring. But with that, I just want to thank everybody for being here. That breeze is phenomenal. Let's go stand outside in it. I love you. Thank you. I will see you again June 4th. Come on out. We will have a fantastic time. And come early, and we can all hang out prior to that. Thank you so much.